This morning I got a call while I was at work. They said my mom was dead.
Hello?
My brother killed them.
He's breathing.
And I'm gonna give my opinion on this TikTok situation.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike. And in this sole video, from insane killers to, well, I mean, insane killers, there's no real two ways about it. Today we're gonna take a look at 3 TikTok accounts that each hold some dark and, well, frankly, disturbing secrets. People are pretty eager for those, clackety clicks, so maybe we have a man documenting his descent into insanity. Or another who just really wanted to show off, and, well, would kill to do so. Or how about a simple story of a sister's love for her brother, even if that brother did the absolute unthinkable. But before we get into it, please subscribe to see new stories every single week. Now, you and I, let's give it a go. Our first story takes us to this place, known as Baton Rouge, Louisiana, because there was a young fella named Terrion Thomas, and he was, you won't believe it, he was uploading TikToks. He began uploading when he was only 18 years of age, if you can believe that, and over the years he had a number of accounts. But young Terrion had hit the major leagues with his latest account. The name? A very classy affair, Mr. Prada 456. This account would go on to accumulate over 4 million followers. That's huge. That's mega. And when you have videos like these, it's easy to see why. Wow. What great stuff. What else you got for us, Mr. Prada? You know, we'll let you wow us.
Stop. This was Coachella 2016. This was the vibe at the time, okay? You need to understand.
So anyways, the thing about Mr. Prada, Terrion Thomas, was that people soon started calling him out after he was basically stealing other TikTokers' jokes and skits and then refilming them, admitting he did this with no shame. This even led to other TikTokers calling themselves Mr. Prada victims, and it sorta seems to have become this whole thing on the platform. I'm not sure why he stole though, because literally nothing he posted was funny. And the thing was, there really would only be one Mr. Prada victim. Though he did post this TikTok, which would be oddly prophetic. Mr. Prada 456 wasn't his only account. He'd had other Mr. Prada accounts previously, and also an account by the name of Pablo Cour, which took off for a little bit. But they seem to always get banned for one reason or another, but he always made a return to the platform. He had never given up, to the despair of other users. Terrion Ishmael Thomas was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana in 2004. TikTok doesn't really pay much, or at all, really. So what he actually did for a living, I'm not sure, but he did live alone. Now, one thing that Terrion often talked about in his videos were his own struggles with mental health, specifically depression.
Okay, so I'm finna, it's 6 o'clock in the morning right now. I'm finna give y'all another life update for today. Okay, so right now it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I was gonna go to the gym today, but I don't have time. So today, I have to run a lot of fucking errands. I'm so tired, bitch. I wish I had somebody to run my errands for me, but oh well.
And for this, he rightly sought help.
I'm changing up my aesthetic. I'm finna be the baddest punk. Oh yeah, I thought somebody said something.
Fans of his became worried about him as he posted some very strange videos to his account.
To grow back. Damn, why did I cut the eyebrows too? Yes.
And it seems like the person who gave him this help likely was one Dr. Nicholas Abraham. Dr. Nick, he went by. In 2024, Dr. Nick was 69 years old. Nice. A therapist and a well-known figure in Baton Rouge. He would help folks with phobias, he wrote books.
And here's my new book, I'm limping very well, thank you.
Some would wonder why I'm limping, and that's what we all really do sometimes in life. We limp our way through it because we've all to some degree been wounded.
He wasn't only a counselor, he was a life coach too.
I don't know a lot for certainty, but one thing I do think I know for sure. I love Christmas, and I think most of us probably do. I won't go so far as to say it's the favorite day of the year, but it sure brings about incredible memories and a sense of longing, sense of closeness to one another. Just a time of year when we really do feel that goodwill towards all, even though we know that it's, like everything else in life, sometimes short-lived.
He was heavily interviewed and had plenty of videos of him speaking on YouTube.
Well, hold on. Go.
This is called the Busy Corner Grocery, and I'm not quite sure what age I was, but I do know that my father bought this when I was in elementary and junior high, and I remember in 1968 when Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis.
A stand-up, helpful, community-focused guy, you'd think, right? Well, let me tell you something else about Dr. Nick Abraham that may have you think otherwise. See, Dr. Nick had, in a previous life, been a Catholic priest serving the Baton Rouge area for about 14 years. You know, counseling, spiritually counseling, just regularly counseling the local folks who lived in the area. However, that all came to a head around the year 2015. Because in 2015 he was accused of what else but groping an 11-year-old boy during one of those counseling sessions. Yikes.
A Baton Rouge therapist is under investigation after a woman reported that he allegedly touched her grandson inappropriately. According to police reports, the boy was so upset after the session, he said he never wanted to see the therapist, 60-year-old William Abraham, again. Abraham was arrested and charged with molestation of a juvenile. His bond is set at $25,000.
Now, he was arrested, but charges would ultimately be dismissed due to a lack of evidence. But I mean, come on. It's a bit of a cliche at this point.
So I played a little game not too long ago. I walked through a grocery store, and before anything happened, before anyone said anything to me, I smiled at each person, and automatically, 100% of the time, everyone smiled back. No one walked away, no one diverted, no one frowned. It's amazing what an initiating of a smile can do.
He would later leave the cloth and became just Dr. Nick, and there wouldn't be any more accusations that we know of, though any future accusations would come to a permanent end come September 2024. It was on a Sunday, September 29th, 2024, that a driver on Highway 51 in Louisiana was driving north, and alongside the side of the highway, they noticed something they thought was weird. It was a rolled up tarp. Now, you might see that all around the place, but there was something that was so very strange about this particular rolled up tarp, blue tarp, in this bright sunny day, that they actually called the authorities about it. And they were right to. Fair play to that person, whoever they were. When the police arrived, well, located inside that rolled up tarp was the body of Dr. Nick. His death being, well, violent, it was likely he hadn't been killed in his own home. Thing was, his car was also missing too. A bolo for his car was in fact put out, and then the following day after his body was found, which was the Monday, a police officer in Baton Rouge, didn't they just see his black Lincoln driving towards him? They tried to pull over the car tried to reverse, and when it couldn't get away from the police officer, it sped off, then hit another car, crashed, and the driver of Dr. Nick's black Lincoln then fled on foot and managed to escape the police. Police would soon identify the driver, tracking its plates and using CCTV as one, guess who, Mr. Prada, aka Terrion Thomas.
Right now, Terrion Ishmael Thomas is wanted for criminal damage to property, resisting an officer, and unauthorized use of a vehicle. Baton Rouge police say he's a suspect in the killing of well-known Baton Rouge therapist William Nick Abraham. Officers say he was seen driving Abraham's stolen car. A bolo was put out for Terrion Thomas, while in the meantime, they searched Mr. Prada's place. And yeah, as you can imagine, they found mucho evidence of a violent altercation taking place inside Mr. Prada's, apartment. Seemed like this is exactly where Dr. Nick had been killed. They searched the CCTV for
Terrion Thomas's apartment building, they saw Dr. Nick come knock 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 on his apartment door at around 11 a.m. on the Saturday before he was found on the Sunday. He goes into Mr. Prada's place, and then a number of hours later that same day, they saw more footage of Terrion Thomas dragging a blue tarp. Big blue tarp rolled up around something quite heavy, dragging that blue tarp out of his apartment building. Terrion Thomas would soon be found in Dallas and was arrested, then brought back to Louisiana. He was charged with murder in the second degree and obstruction of justice. That charge would later be upped to first degree murder. So, Big Dog, likely what happened? I mean, your first thought when you're hearing a therapist gets murdered and it seemed like Mr. Prada had mental health difficulties, you'll think Dr. Nick was treating Terrion Thomas, and during some session he snapped, murdered Dr. Nick and Sinead. Makes sense. That was until the police came out and said that Terrion Thomas was not a patient of Dr. Nick's at all. In fact, the police have said they're still not quite sure of what their relationship was. But we can hazard a guess. What else was going on? Were they in some kind of relationship between the two of them? I mean, what happened? Disturbing, yes. Violent, yes. Sleazy, yes, maybe also that too. What reason would Dr. Nick have for going to Terrion's apartment on a Saturday morning? And I know what you're thinking. Earlier on, I said Mr. Prada was born in 2004, making him 11 years old in 2015. The same year, Dr. Nick was accused of groping an 11-year-old boy. So you could think maybe there would be a motive for murder. However, it was later confirmed to not be Terrion Thomas. See, who knows what was going on? Were they in some kind of relationship? Dr. Nick was almost 70 years of age, though. Terrion Thomas was 20, so that's a bit weird. And, well, yeah, Dr. Nick would have no reason to be going there on a Saturday. And he wasn't his doctor. So, Terrion Thomas hasn't gone on trial yet. This only happened a couple of months ago, but this entire story sucks, and I include Mr. Prada's TikToks in that. And before we continue, folks, it is the new year, and you know what they say, new year, new ear buds. At the tippity top of most people's New Year's resolutions, it's usually travel and get fit, and there is no better companion to both of those activities than Raycon and Raycon's best-selling everyday earbuds. To me, keeping things quiet is essential as I research and write the very videos you are watching. I need silence. So quiet this dark and twisted mind of mine, and with my pair of Raycon's earbuds, I get exactly that. Raycon's everyday earbuds are here to make your everyday just a little bit easier. And there's a lot of features about them which I am a fan of. 32 hours of battery life. 10 minutes of charge gets you 90 minutes of battery. But what about the brand new features? Active ergonomic design. Or how about multi-point connectivity, which allows you to pair with two devices at once? Active noise cancellation? Well, nothing really needs to be said about that, because it's noise cancelling. These earbuds are so good, and the active noise cancellation feature works so well, I didn't even realize that I was on a bus. I'm supposed to be at sea. And they are available in a whole host of colors and cases, all of which support wireless charging. Sure, aren't they only gorgeous? Raycon made its name by providing premium audio products at great prices, no BS. Most audio devices are insanely overpriced these days, and Raycon is on a mission to change that. They don't outsource their design and development, it's all in-house with their own team to make the highest quality earbuds. So why don't you go and get yourselves a pair of Raycons today? And you know what? Tell them that chapter sent you. Click on the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/chapter to get 15% off site-wide. Yes! You'll get 15% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/chapter. And though 2025 isn't guaranteed to be easy, Raycon's return policy is. They offer a 30-day happiness guarantee, no questions asked. Thank you so much to Raycon for supporting that chapter. Please support them, because they support us. Now, listen up. Let's get back to it. The next dark TikTok account I want to talk about is one ran by a woman named Kylie Daisy.
Let's cut some close-up. So this is my first victim. I really like the neck detail that they had. This material is so soft. This whole process takes a while, so I was starving. So now I am just cutting up every little seam that I could get my hands on.
She thinks that I owe her an apology.
All right, so we're going to try this today. Cheers. Pretty good. It's a yes.
She's a young'un in Iowa, posts fairly frequently on her account about this and that, a lot of regular things, hanging out with the family and with friends, all that sort of thing, all fairly normal and chill. However, the reason that account is in this video at all is, well, you might have guessed, it's linked to some things which are not normal, not chill, like at all. Some pretty horrifying things which Kylie herself has spoken out about on her account.
This morning I got a call while I was at work. They said my mom was dead. Her dog also was dead. My brother killed them.
Yeah, let's back up for just a moment. In the relatively small town of Dubuque, Iowa, a call came in from a woman reporting that she had found a deceased female at 1605 Avoca Street just before 9 a.m. on the 18th of January, 2024.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
I don't know. I'm on Avoca Street. I need someone right now.
What street are you on?
Avoca.
Avoca?
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on?
I was supposed to meet my best friend for coffee. I think she's dead.
You think your best friend is dead?
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Please come here. I don't know what to do.
Officers arrived to find the caller, Christy Folman, frantically trying to make sense of what she'd just walked in on. See, Christy had arrived that morning to visit her friend, 46-year-old Jennifer Daisy. Jennifer had recently been diagnosed with several brain tumors, which had begun to affect her ability to carry out simple daily tasks. Her health had gotten so bad that she'd even been forced to ask her 28-year-old son, Tyler, to come and live with her. On the morning of the 18th, Christy Folman, good friend of Jennifer's, she arrives to Jennifer's house, lets herself in that morning as she always does. She lets herself in, immediately goes down to the floor to greet Jennifer's dog, Echo the dog. But the dog wasn't there that morning. In fact, it seemed like nobody was there. Christy takes a couple more steps into the Daisy household, and then on the couch, she spots something. She spots like a blanket kind of rolled up and some drops on it that looked like blood. Christy approached, tentatively picked up the blanket and realized there was actually quite a lot of blood on this couch. Blood and fur. On the couch was Echo the dog. And if you didn't know already that Jennifer had a dog named Echo, I mean, you wouldn't have been able to tell with what was left behind on that couch. The dog had been absolutely butchered. Christy, feeling quite frightened, but regardless, she pushed on until she came to Jennifer's bedroom. And you know, it's a bit of a true crime cliche, right? To say it looked like it was something out of a horror movie or something like that. But I think that's the only way to describe what Christy found in Jennifer's bedroom. What she found was a Jennifer who was very obviously beyond anyone's help at all. To put it delicately, she had been heavily mutilated with several deep lacerations to her face, head, and neck. It was a brutal scene. And that was young Kylie's mother. It had been done by Kylie's brother. Tyler Daisy had some serious issues, some serious mental health struggles that often make him unpredictable. When the police arrived, Tyler went very quickly to the top of the need to speak with list in relation to the murder of Jennifer Daisy. Thing was, though, Tyler was in the house. In fact, he was in his own bedroom, sprawled out on his bed, stark bollock naked.
He's breathing.
The murder weapon, a black tactical tomahawk, was found resting on a shelf in the bedroom. Tyler was described as conscious, but not exactly responsive to the officers at the scene. At first he, ignored all of their requests to come out, so eventually they made him come out. And far from the bloody, kind of aggressive mess you think he would be after what was found in the home, Jennifer and the dog, in an unthinkable way, Tyler was actually very calm, cool, collected. He came out not a fuss, answered any of the officers' questions, and the question they mainly had was, what did you do and why did you do it? He basically wasn't acting like somebody who had just butchered the family dog and his own mother. And the only thing he would say was that his mom had been practicing witchcraft. Beyond that, he would not say anything else. A review of Jennifer's doorbell camera showed her letting Echo in at close to 10 p.m. on January 17th, which would be the last time she'd be seen alive. The camera didn't pick up anyone else until the following morning when Christy Folman arrived. Soon, Kylie Daisy, Tyler's younger sister, was also taken in for questioning and to inform her of what had happened.
Nothing special.
Is Puff down there? Yeah, Puff was with Hopper. Sorry for bouncing your own cars.
It's all good. You're just doing your job. You want my pepper spray too?
I'll throw it back here.
Kylie's reaction was unusual, to say the least.
I'll do a bottle of water. How
Okay.
about that? Yep. And then just give me a minute. I'll be back in. Okay. All right. Thanks, Kylie. I'm very sorry for your mother's passing.
I don't really deal with that. Hence why I'm so calm, kind of. It sounds kind of heartless, but it's not like I can do much now.
Though, how exactly are you supposed to react when something like this happens?
Yes, my brother killed my mom. My mom's friend found her in her room. She was murdered by an axe. She had a couple missing fingers, and I don't know if they were found. My brother was in his room. They put him in this straitjacket and took him down to the station. I was not able to know anything until media did. They kept the witness near them for hours. Why does the media get to know before her own daughter? I ended up going home. As soon as I got there, they took me to the police station for questioning. I just lost my fucking mom and you want to ask me questions? What is wrong with our system?
The following month, Tyler was ordered to undergo a full psychiatric evaluation to assess his competency to stand trial. It's actually pretty rare for defense teams to fully commit to a not guilty by reason of insanity defense, simply because the conditions that need to be met in order for a defendant to qualify are extremely hard. Tyler was assessed by doctors who reported that though he understood the charges and the court process, he was not capable of aiding in his own defense or acting in his own best interest, a vital component of a fair trial.
I'd like to say this is not one flew over the cuckoo's nest, and I will not be going to a mental institution, and I will not be taking drugs. I am who I am, and I am who I choose to be, not what you say I am. Do you understand, sirs and ma'ams? Okay.
However, the judge ordered a second evaluation of Tyler Daisy, and this time he was found he's grand. So the judge said he's good to go. Let's get the trial rolling, buddy.
I'm at the courthouse right now and they did find him competent. How is he competent? He's been diagnosed with how many disorders? His list is literally a full page, if not longer. And he's competent? Yes, he's smart whether he has mental illnesses or not. That does not make him competent. He is trying to drop his counsel as well.
In the meanwhile, Kyle was telling the officers, about the struggles Tyler had been through for years and years and years, about how he had, tried to get help. Kylie said she believed he did it, but did not believe he knew what he was doing when he did it. I mean, Tyler had a long history of myriad mental health issues, and he had tried to seek out help. He had tried to seek out treatment, but he just never got enough until eventually it ended in this. Kylie Daisy began to speak out on her TikTok account about both her mother's murder and her brother's mental health struggles. And a lot of her motivation seems to be to try and fight the witchcraft murder that the death of her mother gained in the newspaper headlines.
This is my brother. My brother's name is Tyler Daisy. This is my beautiful mother. Her name was Jennifer Daisy. Healthcare prescribed him many different cocktails of drugs. Doing so, they should follow up on medication they prescribe. They never did with my brother. I don't want to see anyone else go through this. I want it to end with my family. They're not being held accountable. Instead of looking at the real problem, the media wants my brother to look like a monster.
The truth is, witchcraft had absolutely nothing to do with Jennifer Daisy's death at all, but it just kind of got tagged with the witchcraft murder. I mean, it had nothing to do with it. The whole thing of like the witchcraft murder stems from Jennifer Daisy was very religious. She would pray a lot. Tyler would joke around, oh, she's practicing witchcraft as a joke to get a laugh. And then as Tyler's mental health got worse and worse and worse, he stopped believing his own joke and believed she was genuinely a witch. On TikTok, Kylie spoke about mental health issues, how she still loves her brother, he just needs help. Help he was not getting. Over the years, Tyler had tried on numerous occasions to seek out help with his mental health.
Before this all happened, my brother was in and out of psych wards, in and out of jail, in and out of the hospital. He asked for help. He committed himself. Our families committed him. We asked for help. We didn't get help.
The defense had very little to go on. At first, they tried to have Tyler again ruled incompetent, but that was refused. So what they did have in his defense was strictly hypothetical. All they could do was try and argue that the police had been so focused on Tyler being guilty, well, they'd failed to look at other leads that could have uncovered another suspect. Another suspect, you say? I wonder who that could be. That's when the defense had the amazing idea to throw Kylie Daisy, the person we're talking about, and Tyler's only defender, the only person who had his corner, under the bus you get. They said, you know what, maybe Kylie murdered her own mother and is laying the blame at Tyler Daisy's feet. I mean, all they had to go on was some footprints were found in the snow outside of the home and near a door, near one of the side doors to the home, and Kylie, she had a key to that door because it was her family home. And then also, and nobody could account for Kylie Daisy between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m., likely because she was asleep.
What I'm going to ask you to do is listen to all the evidence. Who they didn't follow up on. Like, you're also going to hear testimony about who had the keys to that. And that there were two people who had the keys. One was Jennifer, and one was Kylie. They can place Kylie, they can tell you where Kylie was at 10 at night and 8 in the morning, but they really can't tell you what happened in between those times. Listen to all the evidence, not just the evidence that takes you down the path of least resistance. Because sometimes that path takes you to the right place, but sometimes that path can lead you astray.
During the trial, for my brother's defense, was pinning the murder on me. Seriously, I don't know how the judge allowed this because it should be illegal.
They also tried to use her reaction as to why she was likely the real killer.
Like, I don't think I have anything else.
Sounds good. Take a chill.
Was that kind of the demeanor of Miss Frey throughout the interview?
Something which a couple of people on TikTok would actually believe.
I have seen some things going around. But to come on my page and say some things like this is disrespectful.
Tyler's trial lasted less than 3 days. The verdict was as close to inevitable as any verdict has ever been. The foreword was even spoken. The judge imposed a life without parole sentence. At his sentencing, Tyler had another outburst at Kylie. Yeah, the only person who had his back.
Tyler, it's so sad how loved you were. And to see how you are now. This isn't what I used to remember at all. And I know it hurts you. And if it doesn't, that's so sad. I'm sorry that you're that far gone. Seriously. I don't know what you have going on.
10 Commandments.
Okay. Okay. Look at you.
Killed
This is sad.
you and Christy and Katie, conspiracy to commit murder.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Daisy, let her speak. Let her finish.
I hope you enjoy life in prison.
I can live forever. I have God. Where's your God?
That's
Jesus?
a great God.
Let's see Jesus save you.
I'm glad you're
Ma'am,
getting
finish
worked
what you
up.
want to say.
I enjoy that. At least you have some type of feeling.
Read the Bible.
I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
Tyler certainly needs more help than a cell, and Kylie has continued to speak out about mental health. She still posts on TikTok to this day and hopefully can raise more awareness about mental health and mental health treatment, the treatment her brother so sadly needed. Unfortunately, it's a story we've seen a couple of times now. And finally, I have a story for you from North London, right? And a story, it didn't begin, it actually ended with the posts on a TikTok account called Mohammed Arabu 25.
Certified freak, 7 days a week, wet ass. Okay, I don't want you doing that on social media. Can I shake my ass? No. Can I take my shirt off? No. Can I spread my legs? No. Can I bite my lip? Bite your lip? Yeah, like this. No.
So what's this got to do with anything, says you? Well, comedic genius here was one Mohammed El Aboud. He posted lots of videos of his nice house, his Audi, his dancing and singing, all top drawer stuff really, mind-blowing content. He seems very eager to be the kind of guy who he wants you to think, whoa, this guy, he's pretty cool. He's really trying his hardest to impress you, you know, so you better be impressed, basically. The thing was, though, all of the items, the car, the house, the yada yada, in his videos, well, he won't exactly say on his TikTok how he got them, because he murdered somebody to get them. That's the ending. Let's go back to the beginning. Mohammed El Aboud was great friends with Qusay Al-Jundi. Mohammed, a delivery man, Qusay, a chef. Qusay from London, Mohammed originally from Romania. They became friends working at the same restaurant. And both these bucos would come into contact with a very wealthy woman, named of Louise Cam, who frequented the restaurant that Qusay was a chef at and Mohammed was a delivery driver at. Louise was a mother of two, and she had made a little old fortune from a catering business she'd run with her now ex-husband. She owned a couple of properties in the affluent suburbs of North London, and now that she was getting on in years, come 2021, she was 71 years of age. Well, basically what Louise wanted to do was sell up those properties and leave the millions of pounds to her two children so they would be taken care of. And so one day, Louise, who became friends with the chef and the delivery man, well, she told Qusay Al-Jundi about her plans, getting ready to sell up, you know, sell all my properties and go off elsewhere, leave all this money to my kids. But Qusay, pound signs for days, and as his gears are grinding, and he was thinking to himself, oh boy, that sounds great. Leave it to your kids, though. Terrible idea. How about you leave it to me? I mean, okay, he didn't actually say that, but that's what he was thinking. He was like, how can I? So Qusay tells Louise, you're planning to sell these like £1 million properties. You had two properties. They're both quite worth quite a bit. He says, you know, I've got a rich girlfriend named of Anna. She's looking for some investment properties herself in London, and she's willing to pay well above market price for your properties. Now, she works out of the UK, so how about I'll be the middleman here. You can do everything through me, basically. Sound good? Now, Anna existed in the same realm as Barney the Dinosaur and Qusay's morals, which is to say, not at all. Qusay lived in a place called Harrow. I actually did some schooling there myself, and he was married with some kids. He was basically working as a chef in a shitty restaurant at this point. He had zero money for investments. But this was not Qusay al-Jundi's first rodeo. He was a con man, true, and he knew how to slick and slide his way so that your money would be in his pocket and you'd be thanking him for it. Now, Louise told her kids about this mysterious deal that was going to happen between Qusay's wealthy girlfriend who lives abroad. Oh, you wouldn't know her, she lives in another country. She would tell this to her kids, that she's going to sell to them, you know, to Qusay and his girlfriend, well above market price. They said, her kids said, that's bullshit. Her friends, her family, they all said, he's lying. Like, this is shady. This is something extremely shady here. This is not legit. Even her own bank would refuse to transfer money between the two, because even her bank could see this was clearly a fraudulent deal. But poor Louise Cam, she thought it was, you know, if it's too good to be true, it usually is. But Louise did not see it that way. Over the course of a few months, Qusay al-Jundi let Mohammed in on the dealio. A Mohammed who wanted to write checks his ass couldn't cash, judging from his TikTok. You know, a small man with big dreams. And this would culminate with Qusay securing power of attorney from Louise Cam. How did he manage that? Simple trickery and manipulation. Chances are she didn't even know what she was signing. By this stage, they both had resolved to murder her. They both even started buying things for the houses that she owned before she was even dead. Mohammed started filming TikToks inside the house he was going to kill to own. Mohammed, by the way, in addition to having probably one of the most punchable faces of people I've covered, was also married with kids. That's not his wife in the videos. That's his girlfriend, Maria. On July 26th, 2021, Louise arrived at one of her properties to meet with Qusay. This was on 16 Gallants Farm Road, the same house Mohammed was already moving into before she was even dead. Qusay wasn't there, Mohammed was. This is the house he'd been hanging out at, filming TikToks all the time, because Louise, she had these properties, but she lived elsewhere. So Mohammed basically started moving in before she was even dead. And so when she walked into that house at 16 Gallants Farm Road for a business meeting with Qusay, that's what she thought, he wasn't there. Mohammed was. And he strangled her to death with the cord of a hairdryer. After Mohammed murdered Louise, himself and Qusay went to work to gather cleaning supplies. It's pretty disturbing, I mean, how cheesy and annoying he is in the TikTok videos compared with how arrogant and calm and collected he is in the CCTV right after killing. It's like he never gave her a second thought. They then wrapped Louise in a blanket, placed her in the bin, and covered her with tarp and garden stuff. Then they hired 3 men to bring the bin from Louise's house, where she had been killed, to Qusay's own home in Harrow, where he lived with his family. Because why not, I guess? I mean, why did he do that? Well, as you probably already know, he is an absolute moron. They were just thinking, you know, hopefully her body will be taken away by the bin men, the garbage men. They won't realize it will be brought out to the dump, and they'll never be able to tie her back to... they'll never be able to tie her back to the house we are now living in. The TikToks, by the way, they kept coming.
Doamne, ce viață au pe unii. Mașină, casă, interior lux, din fericire. O frumusețe de băiat pe aici, așa, bucătărie cât casă. Asta cum se numește salonul sau cum se spune în limba română, așa. Și adevărul e că nu e bani în buzunar. Așa că trăiesc bogați. Bogați cu luxuri și fără bani în buzunar. Haide, o zi bună.
They sent texts to Louise's son from her phone, claiming she had suddenly decided to move to China. They sold her BMW for cash and bought all sorts of shite. And then Mohammed decided to tell his mistress Maria, who you probably are already quite familiar with from the TikToks, about, well, what he had done to get that house they were now, living in. Murdering somebody. And Maria went to the police. I mean, the entire plot, it was dumb as shit. It's dumb as absolute dog shit. It's entirely shambolic. It's just, it would be actually quite funny if it, wasn't as horrifying that a woman tragically was murdered for this entire dumb as shit plot to go true. Maybe that Shydog Mohammed should have spent a bit more time plotting to get away with murder than he did posting these TikToks for everybody to see. Like, I'd love to know what planet they were on if they thought they could get away with this. Incredible stuff. Even more incredible was that both fellows were sentenced to a minimum of 30 years in prison. But yeah, they put the same amount of effort into murdering and covering up said murder as Mohammed did in posting this. Thank you so much for watching. Truly means the absolute world to me that you are here watching this whole video, folks. Yeah, next video will be up next week, so please give it a go when you see it. In the meantime, if you can check out the That Chapter podcast, which has a brand new episode out every single Monday morning, and it's all different stories to what I tell here in the videos, all podcast exclusive stories. You can check out the That Chapter Patreon. $2 a month gets you early access to every single video and a whole playlist of Patreon exclusive videos, or check out the merch down below, which I enjoy. It's pretty cool. But until the next one, please take care of each other. Please take care of yourselves, because I love you. Mike out.